In a world where unseen battles rage within, understanding mental health is not just a necessity, it's a survival skill. This book unveils the intricacies of emotional experiences, revealing how they can morph into tactics of control that ensnare both the afflicted and their supporters. This book transcends the typical self-help manual. It serves as a profound journey into the very core of trauma and recovery. Are you prepared to confront the shadows of emotional pain and unearth the tools necessary to not only protect yourself, but also support those navigating their own tumultuous paths? Engage in this exploration and discover what awareness can truly heal. Trauma Unburdened: How the Body Heals with Awareness, written and published by Tangled Minds. Chapter 1: When Pain Becomes Projection. Imagine a bustling cafe where laughter fills the air and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafts through the room. As you sit at a small, sunlit table, you observe a woman at the counter, her smile faltering as she exchanges hurried words with the barista. Moments later, she turns away, her expression shifting from cheerful to dark in an instant. In her silent storm, she spills her unresolved pain onto anyone around. A harsh critique directed at a friend, a sharp comment aimed at a stranger, or the cold dismissal of kindness offered. This fleeting scenario is more common than you might think, illustrating a phenomenon deeply rooted in the human psyche: when pain becomes projection. Understanding the nature of mental health issues and their ripple effects is imperative. Many individuals battling internal struggles often mask their vulnerabilities with outward aggression or frustration. The innate human response to unresolved trauma frequently leads us to redirect our emotional upheaval towards those closest to us. It is not malicious intent, but rather an instinctive survival mechanism where projecting one's suffering becomes a misguided means of controlling how others perceive them. We may have experienced this firsthand when confronted with abrupt outbursts from someone we thought we understood. The hurt person lashes out, not recognizing that their anguish is coloring their interactions, and in doing so, they unawarely chain those they love to their emotional burden. Such behaviors stem from a place of deep psychological turmoil. Those wrestling with mental health challenges often lack the tools to express their pain constructively. As they struggle, their emotions can manifest as anger, sadness, or paranoia. This disconnect can create an environment rife with tension for those who care about them. Friends and family members unwittingly become targets of blame or frustration, caught up in the emotional crossfire, left bewildered and hurt. It raises the question: how do we navigate relationships where we are thrust into the role of caregiver, yet find our own mental well-being compromised? The unfortunate truth is that many of us have accepted this pattern as normal. We have learned to mitigate discomfort by excusing harmful behaviors, telling ourselves that their struggles justify their treatment of us. We become adept at walking on eggshells, fearing the next outburst or emotional withdrawal. In reality, part of the cycle that perpetuates unresolved trauma hinges on this very dynamic. By allowing ourselves to be affected by someone else's pain, we tacitly endorse the cycle of hurt. In doing so, we fail not only to protect ourselves, but also to empower the self-aware journey for others. Recognizing and breaking this cycle requires an examination of our experiences, thoughts, and feelings. The first step toward understanding is the acknowledgement that while we may empathize with a loved one's struggles, we must also set boundaries and strive not to absorb their pain as our own. Awareness is crucial. Understanding that pain can become projection allows us to see beneath the surface. By drawing the connection between our emotional states and those of others, we begin to uncover a hidden truth that often eludes many. Our mental health affects not only ourselves, but also the very fabric of our relationships. It is through this lens that we can begin to explore how to navigate the turbulent waters of emotional interactions while safeguarding our well-being and fostering genuine connections. The insidious nature of projection affects not only the individuals who wield it, but also those who become unwitting recipients of projected pain. Consider the case of Sarah, a devoted friend who finds herself constantly on edge when spending time with Julie, who battles anxiety and depression. Julie's blanket of unresolved trauma often transforms into critical remarks and unsolicited advice directed at Sarah. Rather than addressing her own distress, Julie channels it into a hostility that leaves Sarah feeling inadequate and drained. Over time, Sarah questions the validity of her self-worth, believing that she must be the source of Julie's unhappiness. This emotional turmoil leads Sarah into a cycle of self-doubt that impacts her other relationships and personal endeavors. Psychological research supports this unfortunate pattern. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals experiencing significant emotional distress are more likely to lash out at others while simultaneously failing to process their emotional pain adequately. Projection acts as a shield, protecting individuals from facing their inner demons, but simultaneously creating a cycle of anger and resentment. The distress often manifests in isolation. Those who project their pain may surround themselves with people yet feel utterly alone in their experience, unable to connect authentically. Another poignant example is Mark, a father who struggles with his own unresolved childhood trauma. When stressed, he often reacts to his children's innocent antics with disproportionate anger or frustration, blaming them for behavior that triggers his anxiety. Instead of acknowledging his reactions as a product of his past, Mark inadvertently teaches his children that their emotions and expressions are wrong, inflicting burdens that could echo for generations. Research indicates that parental projection can lead to adverse long-term effects on children's mental health, perpetuating a cycle of trauma that can span decades. The children, now adapting to judgment and criticism, may become adults prone to both emotional distress and difficulties in their relationships. The urgency to recognize these patterns is vital for fostering not only personal healing, but also healthier dynamics in relationships. People caught in the cycle of projecting pain often become stuck in a victim mentality, believing that the world, or those around them, holds responsibility for their suffering. This mindset blinds them to the possibility of healing. To effectively support loved ones and maintain one's own mental health, gaining insight into these dynamics cannot be overstated. It empowers individuals to set boundaries and advocate for their emotional needs without succumbing to guilt or shame. However, recognizing these patterns takes courage and vulnerability. We must not only see the impact of others' projections, but also examine our inherent responses. Are we enabling the cycle by absorbing their pain, or are we fortifying our own emotional landscape to engage more authentically? The challenge lies in cultivating an awareness that allows us to differentiate our emotions from those of others and responding from a place of strength rather than fear. As we move forward, it is essential to cultivate a keen sense for the often subtle, hidden warning signs of this chronic emotional dynamic. Many overlook these red flags, believing they are merely a facet of normal interactions. The next section will delve into these crucial cues, insights that can illuminate the path to healthier relationships and equip you with the tools necessary to navigate the complexity of emotional exchanges with compassion and strength. The impact of projection extends far beyond the individual suffering from unresolved trauma. It reverberates through the lives of caregivers, friends, and colleagues, creating a complex web of emotional dysfunction. Consider the case of Emily, a social worker who has dedicated her life to supporting those with mental health issues. Over time, she finds herself drained by a client, Tom, who repeatedly unloads his burdens on her, projecting his unresolved anger onto her during sessions. Initially, Emily feels a deep, empathetic connection, believing that her role is to absorb Tom's pain. However, as this dynamic continues, her own emotional state begins to deteriorate. The line between professional obligation and personal suffering blurs, leading Emily to experience burnout, self-doubt, and even resentment towards her vocation. In attempting to heal Tom, she unwittingly becomes entangled in his emotional crisis, diminishing her capacity to assist others. Similarly, friends of those who project their pain are often caught in a cycle of confusion and frustration. Take Michael, who has steadfastly supported his friend Rachel through her emotional upheavals. Each time Rachel faces a crisis, she directs blame at Michael, accusing him of not being a good enough friend. What began as peer support erodes into an emotionally charged environment, leaving Michael feeling unwarrantedly guilty and increasingly hesitant to engage with Rachel. This pattern not only strains their friendship but also affects Michael's relationships with others, introducing a sense of mistrust and defensiveness where he once felt safe to express his feelings. In the workplace, the consequences can be equally damaging. When team dynamics are disrupted by an individual projecting their unresolved issues, it creates an atmosphere of anxiety and tension. Consider Mark, a manager overseeing a team heavily impacted by his personal struggles. His erratic behavior leads to unnecessary conflicts as he frequently reacts negatively to minor oversights. Colleagues begin to tiptoe around him, fearing his wrath, often attributing the discomfort to their perceived incompetence. The ripple effect of Mark's projection results in lowered morale, diminished collaboration, and even high turnover rates as team members seek healthier work environments. This scenario illustrates how an individual's unaddressed emotional turmoil can poison workplace relationships and erode productivity. These scenarios offer a sobering reflection on how such behavior influences those closest to the individual, projecting their pain. It becomes increasingly vital for readers to recognize these detrimental patterns, not only in others but within themselves. Acknowledging the emotional labor involved in accommodating someone else's projections is crucial for maintaining mental well-being. Each interaction where projection occurs creates an implicit demand for the other party to overlook their own emotional needs in favor of managing the distress of the perpetrator, a burden that ultimately fosters resentment, confusion, and conflict. Understanding these dynamics offers the first layer of defense against emotional manipulation. Recognizing projection as a tactic provides critical insights into maintaining personal boundaries and preserving one's mental health amidst adversity. This knowledge empowers individuals to discern when they are being drawn into the web of another's unresolved trauma, providing clarity to navigate difficult relationships with compassion and resilience. The ability to differentiate one's emotions from those of others is paramount, enabling a proactive response rather than a reactive one. As we prepare to delve further into the terrain of emotional control, the next section will elucidate how these tactics escalate over time, ensnaring victims in cycles that become increasingly difficult to break. Understanding the plays of projection is not merely an act of survival. It is the foundational skill required to resist the insidious escalation of emotional manipulation. Chapter 2: Recognizing Emotional Triggers and Patterns. Everyday life is a tapestry woven with myriad emotional experiences. But what if you held the key to understanding the threads that often tangle and lead to distress? Recognizing emotional triggers and patterns is not just a skill. It's a transformative solution that empowers you to reclaim control over your mental landscape. This awareness serves as a guiding light, illuminating the shadows cast by unresolved trauma and emotional projections, creating a path for healing and growth. The origins of emotional triggers can often be traced back to formative experiences that leave an indelible mark on our psyche. Whether stemming from childhood trauma, recurring conflicts in relationships, or significant life changes, these triggers reside quietly, awaiting moments of vulnerability to surge to the forefront. Research from the American Psychological Association reveals that nearly 70% of adults report experiencing significant emotional distress that can be traced back to unresolved experiences, highlighting just how pervasive the problem is. The chances are high that you, too, may navigate your daily life with repetitive emotional patterns in play, often without awareness. Consider Sarah, a young professional who struggles with public speaking. Throughout her schooling, she experienced harsh criticism when presenting her work, internalizing a fear of judgment that surfaces whenever she faces an audience. Each time she approaches the podium, her palms sweat, her heart races, and her voice trembles, not due to a lack of knowledge, but because her emotional memory triggers feelings of inadequacy that paralyze her. It's a common story, one that resonates with many, whereby the present moment becomes overshadowed by past experiences, leading to self-imposed limitations. Expert insights further reinforce the significance of this recognition. Renowned psychologist Dr. Judith Orloff notes that identifying emotional triggers is akin to unlocking a treasure chest of self-awareness. Through journaling and reflection, individuals can map out their emotional landscape, connecting the dots between past experiences and present reactions. This exploration fosters a sense of agency. Individuals begin to understand that their emotional reactions are not fixed, but rather dynamic responses shaped by their experiences. Armed with this knowledge, you take a courageous step toward transforming the narrative of your life from one of reactivity to one of intentionality. Consider a scenario where someone feels an overwhelming sense of anger each time their partner expresses a vulnerability. Instead of reacting impulsively, recognizing this emotional trigger as rooted in past experiences, perhaps stemming from childhood experiences of abandonment, can allow for a mindful approach. By engaging in conversations about feelings rather than reacting out of defensiveness, relationships flourish rather than flounder. This empowers individuals to navigate emotional landscapes more effectively, building healthier connections without the detours created by unchecked triggers. The transformative nature of recognizing these patterns is profound. As you begin to acknowledge and address these emotional triggers, you build resilience and emotional intelligence. Statistical studies indicate that individuals who actively engage in pattern recognition report higher levels of satisfaction in relationships and overall well-being. You gain the confidence that comes from knowing you are not at the mercy of your emotions, but rather, you possess the tools to navigate them with clarity and purpose. As you delve deeper into the exploration of emotional triggers and patterns, remember that the journey is not one of perfection, but of steady progress. In acknowledging your triggers, you are not only taking steps toward healing, but also reinforcing your own empowerment, reclaiming authority over your emotional world. The path ahead is filled with opportunity and growth, and as we continue, the next section will further equip you with strategies to identify and respond to emotional triggers proactively, ensuring that you are well prepared to meet the challenges of your emotional journey with strength and resilience. Recognizing emotional triggers and patterns is an effective strategy that serves both the individual working through their emotional state and those around them, especially loved ones dealing with mental health challenges. By understanding our triggers, we can cultivate emotional resilience and promote healthier relationships. This twofold benefit transforms reactions from knee-jerk responses fueled by past traumas into conscious actions driven by awareness and empathy. For the individual, identifying and addressing emotional triggers fosters a sense of control and empowerment. Consider the example of Tom, a team leader whose anxiety often manifests when deadlines loom. In the past, Tom would snap at his colleagues, causing rifts in teamwork and creating a toxic atmosphere. After recognizing his trigger points, he began implementing strategies such as mindfulness and open communication about his anxiety. When faced with significant deadlines, Tom now openly shares his feelings with his team, creating a culture of understanding rather than fear. As a result, his colleagues are more likely to offer support, reducing the anxiety that previously led to conflict. This simple shift not only improved his emotional health, but also enhanced team dynamics, proving that understanding one's triggers cultivates a compassionate environment. On the other side of the equation, those living with mental health challenges also benefit immensely from this strategy. When caregivers, friends, or family members learn to recognize emotional triggers in their loved ones, they can approach interactions with increased sensitivity and understanding. Take Maria, who has a sibling, Lisa, grappling with depression. Previously, Maria would feel helpless when her sister withdrew or showed irritability, often taking it personally. However, after reading about emotional triggers, she began to spot the signs that Lisa's behavior stemmed from her mental health struggles rather than any failing on her part. One day, Lisa seemed particularly closed off during a family gathering. Instead of pushing her to engage, Maria recognized this as a trigger for Lisa. Being in social settings often heightened her anxiety. Remembering their previous conversations about the importance of space, Maria calmly approached Lisa with genuine kindness, offering to join her for a quiet walk, instead of insisting she participate in the bustling room. Lisa opened up about her feelings during that walk, and their bond strengthened as a result, giving Lisa a safe space to express herself without pressure. Real-life case studies support these insights. Research published in the Journal of Mental Health has shown that individuals who actively engage in recognizing their triggers often experience a reduction in anxiety and depressive symptoms. This awareness allows them to articulate their needs, fostering open dialogues about mental health that alleviate the burden of isolation. Individuals who have recognized emotional patterns report enhanced relationships marked by mutual understanding and availability, reducing misunderstandings and emotional fallout. Furthermore, by promoting awareness of emotional triggers, individuals pave the way for more conversations around mental health, not just for themselves, but within their circles. This cultural shift encourages conversations that would otherwise remain silent, empowering both sides to share their experiences without judgment. When emotional intelligence becomes a shared value, it fosters a more compassionate community, reinforcing connections and cultivating a network of support that benefits all involved. The urgency of mastering this strategy cannot be overstated. As you recognize and understand emotional triggers, you not only set the stage for personal growth, but also contribute to a healthier emotional environment for those around you. This reciprocity is critical. By addressing your emotional narrative, you become equipped to engage with those who are navigating their own mental health challenges. The journey to understanding emotional triggers opens a pathway towards resilience, healing, and collective empowerment. As we progress, the next section will delve into practical steps for implementing these recognition strategies, enabling you to skillfully navigate your emotional landscape with clarity and confidence. Empowering yourself to recognize emotional triggers and patterns is more than an intellectual exercise. It requires actionable steps to translate awareness into genuine change. Here's a step-by-step method to implement this strategy effectively, enabling you to take significant leaps toward emotional resilience while maintaining your well-being. Start by keeping a personal trigger journal. Spend a few moments each day reflecting on your emotions and experiences. Note instances when you felt particularly upset, anxious, or reactive. What occurred around you in that moment? Who was involved? This simple act of recording can serve as a powerful compass, helping you identify recurring themes. Over time, you will likely notice patterns reflecting deeper emotional triggers. This journal becomes a safe space to explore your feelings, enabling insights that lead to constructive changes. Once you have begun identifying your triggers, practice mindfulness techniques. Begin with deep breathing exercises or guided meditations available through various apps or online platforms. These practices encourage you to sit with your emotions without judgment and promote a proactive response to situations instead of a knee-jerk reaction. When faced with triggering situations, a few deep breaths can help ground you, offering clarity and perspective in moments of emotional turmoil. You may find that just a minute or two of breathing can shift your emotional state significantly. To further integrate this awareness into your interactions with others, adopt the practice of empathetic communication. Next time a loved one expresses discomfort or starts displaying behaviors that trigger you, pause. Instead of responding defensively, validate their feelings. Use phrases like, "I can see you are feeling overwhelmed right now," or "It's okay to feel this way. I'm here for you." Such responses encourage openness, breaking down barriers, and fostering trust between you and your loved one. By recognizing their triggers alongside your own, you cultivate a collaborative environment that promotes emotional safety. Consider setting small, achievable goals that reinforce your new awareness. For instance, if you find that understanding your emotional triggers leads to less conflict, share this insight with a friend or family member. Ask them to help you stay accountable for your progress, checking in with them weekly about your successes and challenges. Celebrate these small wins. Each time you communicate effectively or manage a trigger thoughtfully, take a moment to acknowledge your growth. Maintaining a healthy balance between helping others and prioritizing your well-being is crucial. It's important to establish personal boundaries that protect your emotional health. Remember that while it's commendable to support loved ones facing mental health issues, your well-being should always come first. Set aside time for self-care. Engage in activities that recharge you, whether it's spending time in nature, pursuing hobbies, or simply resting. When you prioritize your emotional landscape, you're better equipped to support those around you without sacrificing your mental health. As we transition, prepare to explore the subtle yet impactful escalation of control and the ways in which victims can become trapped in cycles of emotional manipulation. The insights gained from recognizing your triggers will serve as your foundation for navigating these complex dynamics with strength and clarity. Before we dive deeper, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on today's learning. How will you apply the knowledge gained? Share your thoughts and insights by subscribing to Mindset Liberation. Join our community of growth seekers. Comment on your personal experiences, and let's continue this journey together. Every story matters, and your engagement is invaluable as we develop and expand this space for transformation. Chapter 3. The Weight of Unresolved Trauma. Unresolved trauma carries a heavy burden, often suggesting that healing lies just beyond grasp, elusive like a shadow in the twilight. However, acknowledging this weight is the first crucial step toward liberation. Just as we carry physical luggage through life, emotional trauma clings to us, often unnoticed until it begins to manifest in uncomfortable ways. Understanding the impact of this unresolved pain provides a profound opportunity to transform your mindset and reclaim control over your emotional well-being. The origins of unresolved trauma can be traced to a myriad of life experiences: childhood abuse, sudden loss, abandonment, or even the relentless pressures of daily life. Each individual's crucible of trauma is unique, and yet the statistics are startling. Around 60% of adults in the U.S. report experiencing at least one traumatic event in their lives, according to the National Institute of Mental Health. This means that many carry the heavy weight of unfinished emotional business, impacting their relationships, decision-making, and overall quality of life. Research indicates that unresolved trauma is linked to chronic conditions, anxiety disorders, and depression, underscoring the importance of addressing this pervasive issue. Consider the story of Lisa, a vibrant woman whose laughter used to fill rooms. After a traumatic breakup, she subconsciously built walls around herself, believing that vulnerability equated to pain. As she navigated subsequent relationships, her unresolved feelings began to seep into her interactions. Friends and partners felt the emotional distance, often misinterpreting her guarded nature as disinterest. Lisa became increasingly frustrated, longing for connection, yet fearful of being hurt again. This cycle of avoidance reinforced her emotional isolation, intensifying the weight of her trauma. Such stories reflect a shared human experience. Many of us may identify with Lisa, feeling trapped in patterns of our own making. Expert insights on the phenomenon of unresolved trauma highlight the necessity of confronting those suppressed emotions, rather than allowing them to dictate our lives. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, a leading trauma expert, emphasizes that trauma impacts not only mental health, but also physical health, often manifesting through chronic pain, digestive issues, or autoimmune disorders. His studies have shown that integrating approaches like therapy, mindfulness, and somatic practices can facilitate healing. Recognizing the signs of unresolved trauma is not just significant, it is essential for reclaiming one's life from the shadows of its past. This awareness empowers individuals to take proactive steps in their healing journey. Each small act of reflection serves to dissolve the illusion that trauma defines who we are. Instead of feeling powerless, recognizing the weight of unresolved trauma invites a transformative mindset, one that asserts agency and encourages us to process our experiences. The journey forward does not require erasing the past. It demands embracing our narratives, learning from them, and, ultimately, freeing ourselves from their grip. As you reflect on the weight of your own unresolved trauma, consider this. It is within your power to transform your emotional landscape. Acknowledging the burden is the first step toward lightness. It lays the groundwork for healing, reframing trauma not as an unchangeable part of your identity, but as a chapter in your story that can culminate in incredible resilience and growth. In upcoming sections, we will explore practical methods to unpack this emotional baggage and address the underlying issues that enable trauma to persist unseen. Grasping these techniques will be crucial as you continue to reclaim your narrative. Remember, each step taken is a step toward empowerment and recovery, guiding you to a renewed sense of self. Embrace this journey with the belief that you hold the power to transform your emotional weight into a source of strength and wisdom. Addressing unresolved trauma is not merely a personal endeavor. It has profound implications for those around us, particularly individuals grappling with their mental health challenges. Understanding and processing one's trauma opens the door to healthier relationships, creating an environment where empathy, connection, and healing can flourish. This dual impact is essential, as it allows individuals to reclaim their narrative while simultaneously offering support to those in need. When someone takes the courageous step to confront their unresolved trauma, they often find clarity that benefits all their interactions. For instance, take the story of David, who had endured emotional neglect during childhood. Years later, he found himself in a committed relationship with Sarah, who struggled with anxiety and low self-esteem. Initially, David's unresolved feelings surfaced as emotional outbursts and withdrawal, which left Sarah feeling invalidated and anxious. Recognizing the cyclical nature of their emotional struggles, David sought therapy to address his past. As he began working through his trauma, David discovered how his childhood experiences had shaped his reactions and perceptions of affection. By doing this work, David not only gained insight into himself, but he also learned to communicate his feelings with Sarah in a healthy way. He started voicing his vulnerabilities instead of masking them with anger or silence. In turn, Sarah felt safer to express her own fears and anxieties, enabling both partners to build a foundation of trust. As David processed his trauma, their relationship blossomed, an outcome that neither could have achieved while remaining shackled to their past. This scenario exemplifies how personal healing fosters a supportive dynamic, allowing both individuals to thrive. The science behind resolving trauma shows that it can enhance emotional resilience and well-being. Studies have demonstrated that therapeutic approaches focusing on trauma add layers of understanding and coping strategies for both the individual and their loved ones. Dr. Peter Levine, creator of the somatic experiencing approach, emphasizes that healing trauma involves integrating painful experiences rather than suppressing them. This effort not only alleviates the distress felt by the individual, but also calms the emotional environment in which they interact, creating space for constructive dialogues and understanding. Consider another example in a workplace setting. Jessica, a manager who had experienced significant trauma, initially found herself frequently stressed and reactive during meetings. Her unresolved feelings led to misunderstandings and conflicts among her team members. Realizing that this pattern was unsustainable, she committed to confronting her past with professional guidance. As Jessica learned to manage her trauma, she adopted a more collaborative approach, inviting open conversations and actively listening to her team's feedback. This transformation didn't just change Jessica, it had a ripple effect throughout her team. Cohesion improved, the overall work environment became more positive, and colleagues felt encouraged to share their own struggles. By tending to her unresolved trauma, Jessica not only reclaimed her professional identity, but also fostered a culture of empathy and support in her workplace. Such real-life illustrations underscore the reality that addressing unresolved trauma can catalyze profound changes, not only within an individual, but also among those they touch. The urgency to recognize and address unresolved trauma is clear. It invites personal growth and enriches relationships, enhancing both individual well-being and community support. The benefits of facing trauma extend beyond the self, transforming interpersonal dynamics and fostering a culture of shared healing. As you embark on your journey of understanding and processing your trauma, remember that each step taken toward healing creates a more compassionate world for everyone. In the coming section, we'll delve into practical strategies for confronting and resolving trauma with actionable steps to implement in your daily life, guiding you toward new pathways of resilience and emotional release. Prepare for a deeper exploration into how you can actively unburden yourself and create lasting change in your narrative. Addressing unresolved trauma requires a proactive approach that emphasizes personal empowerment and emotional healing. Here's a step-by-step guide to implementing effective methods that can help release the weight of unresolved trauma while ensuring that you maintain a healthy balance in your life. Begin with self-reflection. Carve out dedicated time each day or week to sit in a quiet space where you feel safe. During this time, allow your mind to wander over your past experiences, particularly those that evoke strong emotional responses. Write down your thoughts in a journal without censoring yourself. This practice helps you externalize painful emotions, making them less burdensome. Over time, you will cultivate a clearer understanding of the events tied to your unresolved trauma, paving the way for healing. Next, consider incorporating grounding techniques into your daily routine. Grounding exercises are simple practices that reconnect you to the present moment, alleviating feelings of anxiety or distress that often accompany trauma. One effective technique involves using your senses. When you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This can help disrupt spiraling thoughts and anchor you in the present, making it easier to manage your emotions. Mindfulness meditation can also be a powerful tool for processing unresolved trauma. Start with just a few minutes each day, focusing on your breath and gently bringing your mind back when it wanders. You may wish to use guided meditations specifically aimed at trauma recovery, available through numerous online platforms. The goal is not perfection, but rather a commitment to nurturing your mental space. As you develop consistency, you will likely notice an improvement in your emotional regulation and perspective. To build momentum, set small, achievable goals for yourself. For instance, aim to journal for 5 minutes each day, practice grounding techniques 3 times a week, or attend 1 mindfulness meditation session per week. Celebrate these small victories. Recognizing your progress is crucial to sustaining motivation. Each time you check a goal off your list, take a moment to acknowledge your effort. This practice reinforces positive change, helping you feel accomplished and empowered. While addressing unresolved trauma, it's equally vital to prioritize your well-being and establish boundaries. Supporting others dealing with mental health issues can be fulfilling, but it is essential to avoid sacrificing your own mental health in the process. Reflect on times when you felt overwhelmed while trying to support someone else. Recognize that it's perfectly okay to step back when you need a break. Set aside time for self-care. Engaging in activities that recharge and rejuvenate you, such as reading, spending time outdoors, or connecting with friends who uplift you. By preserving your emotional health, you will be better equipped to provide support without becoming engulfed by others' challenges. As we draw this chapter to a close, remember that confronting unresolved trauma is a journey filled with opportunities for growth and healing. The steps you take today will lay a solid foundation for the emotional freedom you seek. In our next chapter, we will explore the intricacies of building emotional resilience, equipping you with tools to face future challenges with strength and grace. Prepare to dive deeper into the strategies that will fortify your emotional landscape. Before we transition, I encourage you to share your experiences and insights. Subscribe to Mindset Liberation, give us a like if you found this chapter valuable, and don't hesitate to comment on your personal journeys. Your feedback is invaluable in shaping our community as we navigate these transformative paths together. Let's continue to grow, heal, and support one another on this incredible journey toward emotional freedom. Chapter 4. Boundaries. Protecting yourself without guilt. Setting boundaries is not merely a self-preservative act. It is a transformative and empowering strategy that allows you to reclaim control over your emotional landscape. Establishing healthy boundaries is a solution born from understanding the need for self-respect and emotional safety, particularly when interacting with those who are struggling with their mental health. Boundaries serve as a protective barrier, safeguarding your emotional energy while fostering supportive relationships. The origins of boundary setting are rooted in psychological principles that recognize the importance of self-advocacy and self-care. According to the American Psychological Association, boundaries can reduce anxiety and increase overall well-being, highlighting their essential role in maintaining one's mental health. A staggering 70% of individuals report feeling overwhelmed by emotional demands placed on them by others, often leading to burnout. Without clear boundaries, you may find yourself as a caretaker, absorbed in the emotional turmoil of others while neglecting your own needs. This creates a precarious balance, one that can result in resentment, exhaustion, and interpersonal conflict. Consider the case of Alex, a devoted friend who has always been there for Kate, a close companion tackling her anxiety and depression. At first, Alex prided himself on his unwavering support. However, as time went on, he noticed that he was sacrificing his emotional well-being to accommodate Kate's needs. Each time Kate called, Alex felt obligated to drop everything to help her navigate a rough patch. While his intentions were noble, this constant demand began to wear him down, leaving him emotionally depleted and increasingly resentful. It's a common story. Many people step into caretaker roles, forgetting the importance of their boundaries. In Alex's situation, a gentle reminder about the necessity of boundaries could have led to a more sustainable dynamic, protecting his emotional health while still supporting his friend. Expert insights emphasize that boundaries are not a sign of selfishness. Rather, they are essential for healthy relationships. Dr. Henry Cloud, a renowned psychologist and author, notes that boundaries indicate where one person ends and another begins. By clearly defining your emotional limits, you allow others to understand how to interact with you in a way that does not encroach upon your emotional space. This creates an environment of respect, an essential foundation for all healthy relationships. Moreover, establishing boundaries empowers you to articulate your needs without guilt. When you realize that it's acceptable to prioritize yourself, it becomes easier to say no to demands that do not serve your emotional health. A study published in the journal Personal Relationships supports this notion, revealing that individuals with well-defined personal boundaries report greater life satisfaction and reduced stress levels. By creating a framework for your interactions, you can foster a sense of fulfillment and stability in your life. Adopting boundary setting as a core component of your emotional strategy begins with self-awareness. Understand your personal limits and recognize the situations in which you feel uncomfortable or overloaded. The journey to establishing boundaries will be yours, filled with moments of clarity, empowerment, and empowerment. You have the capacity to change how you relate to others while preserving your sense of self. As you reflect on the need for boundaries, know that it is entirely within your power to transform how you engage with the world. In the next sections, we will explore specific techniques and strategies for setting and maintaining these boundaries in various contexts, equipping you with the tools to protect your mental health while providing authentic support to those you care about. Embrace the potential for growth that comes from understanding your limits, creating an inner strength that will serve you well in all your relationships. Establishing boundaries is an essential strategy that serves both individuals and those in their lives, particularly those dealing with mental health challenges. By defining what is acceptable and what is not, boundaries empower individuals to prioritize their own mental well-being. This approach not only enhances personal resilience, but also creates a supportive environment for those who may be struggling with their emotions. Fostering well-defined boundaries enhances interpersonal dynamics, allowing for healthier relationships where empathy and respect can thrive. For the individual, setting boundaries means reclaiming autonomy over one's time, energy, and emotional resources. Consider the story of Jenna, who found herself in a volatile friendship with Mike. Mike often leaned heavily on Jenna for emotional support due to his ongoing battles with anxiety. While Jenna cared deeply for Mike, she started to feel overwhelmed as his constant need for validation drained her. Over time, she recognized that her own mental health was suffering, leading to feelings of burnout. By establishing boundaries, Jenna communicated to Mike that she loved him, but could not always be available at his convenience. This shift allowed her to maintain her emotional wellness while still showing her support. Mike, in response, began to understand the boundaries that Jenna had set, leading him to seek healthier ways of coping with his anxiety. Rather than relying solely on Jenna, he started to explore therapy and develop strategies to manage his feelings. This example highlights how setting boundaries is not just beneficial for the person implementing them. It creates space for those facing challenges to cultivate their own coping mechanisms and strategies. Thus, boundaries open pathways that allow both parties to flourish rather than become entangled in emotional dependency. The urgency of learning boundary setting resonates deeply within the context of mental health challenges. When individuals lack clear boundaries, the potential for emotional exhaustion and resentment can rise dramatically. Studies have shown that caregivers or supporters of individuals with mental health issues often experience higher levels of stress and burnout, making it imperative that they learn to assert boundaries effectively. According to research published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology, those who set boundaries reported improved psychological well-being and greater satisfaction in their relationships. Moreover, the cultivation of healthy boundaries facilitates open communication. Consider Alex again, who began to realize the implications of his earlier lack of boundaries with Kate. After establishing clear limits, he approached their relationship with newfound clarity. Alex invited Kate to share her feelings in a more structured way, encouraging her to articulate her needs without putting undue pressure on him. This approach resulted in a more equitable dynamic, where both felt heard and understood, fostering a supportive environment that allowed Kate to grow and thrive. In essence, boundaries empower not just the individual setting them, but also invite the opportunity for growth in those around them. They acknowledge the complexity of relationships and pave the way for healthier interactions, particularly when mental health challenges complicate emotional exchanges. As you reflect on your own relationships, consider the profound potential for change that comes from setting clear limits. Making a commitment to yourself to establish these boundaries can lead to a transformed environment where you and those you support can cultivate resilience and emotional well-being. Moving forward, we will explore practical techniques to effectively communicate and maintain your boundaries while ensuring that your emotional needs are met. Understanding these strategies will significantly enhance not only your mental health, but also your ability to support those you care about without compromising your own well-being. Embrace the journey ahead. Your strengthened sense of self and thoughtful approach to relationships await, setting the foundation for healthier interactions and deeper connections. Implementing effective boundaries is a vital skill that allows you to protect your emotional well-being while fostering healthier relationships. To begin this transformative journey, follow these actionable steps that will help you set and maintain clear boundaries in various areas of your life. Start by engaging in self-reflection to identify your limits. Take some time, perhaps in a quiet space or during a calming walk, to think deeply about what behaviors and situations create discomfort for you. Pay attention to moments when you feel overwhelmed or drained. They often signal where boundaries are necessary. Consider keeping a journal to note these feelings, as writing patterns can help clarify your emotional landscape. As you do this, create a list of the specific boundaries you would like to set regarding your interactions with others. Next, practice assertive communication. Once you've identified your boundaries, it's important to express them clearly and firmly to others. Choose a moment when both you and the other person can engage without distractions. Use I statements to frame your needs, such as, "I feel overwhelmed when we discuss this topic right now, and I need some space." This technique fosters understanding and minimizes defensiveness. By articulating your boundaries from a place of self-awareness, you empower yourself to navigate conversations authentically and respectfully. To build momentum, start small. Choose one boundary to implement this week. It might be as simple as setting aside certain hours as me time, or saying no to a request that doesn't align with your needs. Celebrate this small win. Acknowledge the courage it took to enforce that boundary, and notice how it positively impacts your emotional state. These incremental successes will reinforce your commitment and help you feel more empowered to set additional boundaries over time. In addition to implementing boundaries, practice self-care routinely to maintain a healthy balance. It's essential to recognize when you need a break or additional support. Set aside time for activities that recharge you. whether it's engaging in a hobby, spending time with loved ones, or enjoying nature. Remember, prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It's a necessary practice that enables you to support others without depleting your energy. Implementing a consistent self-care routine can safeguard your mental wellness and create a stronger foundation for your emotional resilience. Another powerful technique is to regularly assess and adjust your boundaries, as they may evolve over time. Life circumstances change, and so do personal needs. Periodically check in with yourself to evaluate how your boundaries are serving you. If you find certain boundaries are being crossed or no longer align with your values, don't hesitate to communicate adjustments. This flexibility fosters a culture of respect and understanding in your relationships, making boundary setting a natural part of your interactions. As we conclude this chapter, remember that setting and maintaining healthy boundaries lays the groundwork for nurturing your emotional health and supporting those around you. The journey of boundary setting empowers you to create fulfilling connections while preserving your sense of self. In our next chapter, we'll explore the important topic of holding space for others without absorbing their pain, learning how to provide support while maintaining your own emotional balance. Before we dive into the next segment, I invite you to engage more deeply with this journey. Subscribe to Mindset Liberation for continued insights, and don't forget to like this chapter if you found it helpful. Share your thoughts in the comments about your experiences with boundary setting or any suggestions for further content that could enhance our community. Your voice matters, and together we can cultivate a supportive environment as we navigate these transformative paths. Let's move forward with momentum and intention toward a more empowered version of ourselves. Chapter 5: Holding Space Without Absorbing Pain. In a world brimming with emotional turmoil, the ability to hold space for others is a powerful and vital skill that can foster deep connections and understanding. However, it doesn't come without its challenges, particularly the risk of absorbing the pain of those we seek to support. Learning how to hold space while protecting your own emotional well-being is not only essential for your mental health, but also transformative for those in need. This chapter explores how to cultivate this delicate balance, allowing you to offer genuine support without compromising your own emotional resilience. The origins of the concept of holding space date back to therapeutic practices that emphasize the importance of creating a safe environment for individuals to express their feelings. It involves actively listening, validating emotions, and providing support without judgment or the urge to fix the problem immediately. The term has gained prominence in mental health circles, with statistics indicating that nearly 75% of individuals seeking therapy report feeling unheard in their daily lives. This highlights a significant demand for compassionate support that many people are yearning for, but may not be receiving in their personal relationships. Consider the story of Emma, who has a friend named Jake, dealing with heavy anxiety. As a supportive friend, Emma always tried to be there for Jake, genuinely wanting to help him navigate his difficult moments. However, over time, she found herself becoming emotionally drained after each conversation, often internalizing his feelings as her own. Emma realized that while she was holding space for Jake, she was inadvertently absorbing his pain, compromising her mental health. Faced with fatigue and emotional exhaustion, she knew something had to change. And this is where the practice of holding space without absorbing pain comes into play. Research supports the notion that effective emotional support requires a balance of empathy and self-preservation. According to a study published in the Journal of Personal and Social Psychology, individuals who maintain emotional boundaries while still being empathetic report higher levels of emotional satisfaction in their support roles. This indicates that while it's vital to connect with those in pain, remaining attuned to one's emotional boundaries is equally important to sustain healthy relationships. Expert insight also reinforces the need for this balance. Dr. Brené Brown, a leading researcher in vulnerability and empathy, emphasizes that the act of holding space should involve neither rescuing nor losing oneself in another's struggles. When well executed, holding space empowers others to express their emotions while allowing the supporter to remain grounded. This dynamic not only fosters authenticity in interactions, but also models healthy emotional practices for both parties involved. As you consider your own experiences, it's crucial to understand that the desire to help others doesn't necessitate sacrificing your emotional health. There is a profound strength in recognizing that while you can offer support, you are not responsible for another person's healing journey. This awareness is liberating. It dispels the guilt often associated with setting boundaries and reinforces your power to manage your emotional investment thoughtfully. In the following sections, we will delve into practical strategies for holding space effectively, ensuring that you can offer genuine support while maintaining your own sense of peace. By cultivating this crucial skill, you'll empower yourself and those around you, creating an environment where healing, understanding, and personal growth can thrive. Embrace the transformation that comes with mastering the art of holding space without absorbing pain, and prepare for the profound impact it will have on your relationships and emotional well-being. Holding space without absorbing pain is a fundamental skill that not only safeguards your emotional health, but also enhances the support offered to those facing mental health challenges. This approach creates a dynamic where individuals can express their feelings openly and honestly while allowing the supporter to maintain their own emotional balance. The mutual benefit of this strategy resonates deeply in personal relationships, fostering a nurturing atmosphere that promotes healing understanding. When individuals practice holding space, it enables the person in distress to feel seen and heard without fear of judgment. For instance, consider Rachel, a teacher who often encounters students dealing with stress and anxiety. Recognizing that her role goes beyond education, Rachel learned to create a safe space where her students could share their struggles. By actively listening and validating their feelings without trying to solve their problems, Rachel empowered her students to express themselves fully. She created an environment where vulnerability was welcomed, providing the students with a sense of security. This not only bolstered their emotional resilience, but also cultivated a stronger sense of connection in the classroom. Rachel's approach illustrates how holding space supports individual growth while fostering healthy, supportive relationships. From a psychological perspective, research indicates that when individuals feel supported in such ways, they experience lowered levels of anxiety and an increased ability to cope with stress. A study published in the Journal of Emotional Health revealed that participants who reported feeling emotionally supported in their relationships were more likely to engage in adaptive coping strategies. These findings underscore the power of empathetic listening and emotional presence in facilitating healing, as it provides individuals with the space to process their emotions without additional burdens or expectations. Moreover, holding space while maintaining one's own emotional boundaries prevents the common pitfall of emotional burnout. Mark, a close friend to his colleague Anna, experienced this firsthand. As Anna struggled with work-related anxiety, Mark initially found himself deeply immersed in her challenges, feeling compelled to find solutions for her distress. However, he soon recognized that his emotional health was deteriorating as he absorbed Anna's fears and worries. Mark sought guidance on maintaining boundaries while offering support, allowing him to listen without feeling responsible for Anna's emotional state. By holding space for her without absorbing her anxiety, Mark became a steady presence for Anna, helping her to feel secure in expressing her concerns without inadvertently dragging him down. This example illustrates how maintaining balance leads to healthier interactions where both the supporter and the person receiving support can thrive emotionally. The urgency of mastering this strategy cannot be overstated. In a world where many feel isolated in their struggles, offering an empathetic ear while protecting your own emotional boundaries promotes mutual growth. Those facing mental health challenges often benefit immensely from this approach, as it provides them with the necessary tools to explore their emotions, leading to healthier coping methods and personal empowerment. Learning to hold space without absorbing pain allows you to engage in meaningful interactions that inspire confidence and resilience, both for yourself and those you care about. As we continue this journey, You will gain practical techniques that will enhance your ability to hold space effectively and with intention. This next step will equip you with specific strategies to deepen these skills, enabling you to support others while preserving your emotional well-being. Embrace this opportunity for growth, recognizing that every effort made in this regard contributes to a larger landscape of healing and connection for all involved. To effectively hold space without absorbing the pain of others, it is essential to develop a structured approach that can be seamlessly integrated into your interactions. This skill not only enhances your own emotional resilience, but also fosters deeper connections with those who need support. Here's a step-by-step guidance to help you begin this transformative practice. Start by cultivating self-awareness. Take a moment each day to check in with your emotional state before engaging with others. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? What emotional weight do I carry today? This practice not only helps you recognize your feelings but also prepares you to be present for someone else without getting lost in their emotional turmoil. Journaling these reflections can also provide insights into your emotional trends and patterns, empowering you to identify when you are at risk of absorbing others' pain. Once you have established your self-awareness, practice mindful listening. When someone comes to you for support, focus completely on what they are saying. Put away distractions such as your phone or computer and maintain eye contact to signal your presence. Use reflective listening techniques, paraphrasing what the person has shared to demonstrate understanding. For example, you might say, "It sounds like you are feeling really overwhelmed by your situation." This method of responsive engagement fosters trust and opens the door for deeper emotional sharing while allowing you to be supportive without taking on their emotions. To build your skills further, introduce emotional checkpoints into your conversations. As you engage with someone who is sharing their struggles, periodically pause and ask yourself how you are feeling. This internal dialogue can help you determine if the conversation is beginning to affect your emotional state. If you sense that you are feeling overwhelmed, it's perfectly acceptable to create a pause by stating, "I think I need a minute to process what you've shared." This promotes emotional regulation, allowing you to maintain a healthy boundary while still showing that you care. Small wins matter immensely in developing these habits. Set a goal to have one meaningful conversation each week, where you actively practice holding space without absorbing pain. Celebrate these moments. Even if you feel slightly uncomfortable, recognize that growth often lies outside your comfort zone. Reflect on what went well after these conversations. What techniques made you feel strong and secure? Each successful interaction will build your confidence and reinforce your ability to hold space effectively. Additionally, prioritize self-care after these emotionally charged conversations. Ensure that you allocate time for activities that replenish your energy, whether it's taking a walk, engaging in a creative hobby, or meditating. This allows you to decompress and disengage from the emotions you may have encountered. Remember, taking care of your own mental health is not only necessary, but essential to supporting others sustainably. As you integrate these techniques, you will find that holding space becomes more intuitive. You'll develop a stronger sense of balance, recognizing that you can be a compassionate listener while still protecting your emotional well-being. This new skill will empower you to nurture your relationships without sacrificing your own light. As we transition into the next chapter, we will explore the complexities of emotional resilience and strategies to strengthen your capacity to withstand life's challenges. Understanding this vital topic will further enhance your ability to support both yourself and others in the journey of emotional growth. Don't miss out on the insights we'll dive into next. To continue this journey together, I encourage you to subscribe to Mindset Liberation and like this chapter if you found it helpful. Your thoughts and experiences are invaluable. Feel free to leave comments with your personal reflections or suggestions for future content. Let's engage and grow together as we navigate these enriching paths toward emotional clarity and well-being. Chapter 6: Healing Conversations and Emotional Safety. The words we choose in our conversations can either heal or harm, serving as powerful instruments that shape our interactions and emotional landscapes. Healing conversations are not just about communicating. They are about creating emotional safety that allows both parties to express themselves authentically and without fear of judgment. By fostering an environment where vulnerability is met with compassion, we open the door to profound healing and connection. The origins of healing conversations stem from the principles of effective communication and emotional intelligence. The concept encourages individuals to engage in dialogue that promotes understanding, respect, and emotional safety. Research indicates that around 60% of individuals report that unresolved conflicts stem from a lack of open and honest communication. This statistic underscores the necessity of developing effective conversational strategies that prioritize emotional safety, enabling individuals to navigate difficult topics without fear of escalation or misunderstanding. Consider the story of Claire, who found herself in a repetitive cycle of conflict with her partner, Mike. Despite their love for one another, discussions about finances would often devolve into arguments. Claire would feel criticized, and Mike would react defensively, leading to a breakdown in communication. Recognizing the damaging pattern, Claire decided to have a healing conversation focused on emotional safety. Instead of confronting Mike with accusations, she initiated the dialogue by expressing her feelings. "I feel anxious when we talk about finances because I fear being judged." By framing the conversation around her emotional experience, rather than assigning blame, Claire created space for a more constructive discussion. This approach transformed their interactions, allowing them both to explore their fears and concerns without defensiveness, leading to a collaborative approach to budgeting. Statistical insights further support the power of healing conversations. A study published in the Journal of Communication found that couples who engaged in dialogues focused on emotional safety reported higher levels of relationship satisfaction and emotional connection. By actively listening and validating each other's feelings, individuals can foster an environment that not only encourages honesty, but also deepens intimacy. Expert insights emphasize that healing conversations are rooted in the practice of empathy and active listening. Dr. Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of nonviolent communication, delineates the significance of empathetic listening in promoting healing dialogues. He asserts that when people feel heard, they are more willing to share their authentic thoughts and emotions. This concept reinforces the necessity for dialogue partners to approach conversations with the intent to understand rather than control or criticize. The urgency to cultivate healing conversations cannot be overstated, especially in an era where misunderstandings can lead to estrangement and conflict. Emotional safety empowers people to share their truths, leading to deeper connections and a sense of belonging. When both parties in a conversation feel secure, they are more likely to explore difficult topics, fostering growth in their relationships. As you reflect on your own interactions, consider the power you hold to transform your communication style. You can initiate healing conversations that prioritize emotional safety and encourage openness. In the following sections, we will delve into practical techniques for instilling comfort and trust within your conversations, enabling you to create an atmosphere that invites authentic expression while nurturing the needs of both parties involved. Embrace this opportunity to transform your mindset around conversations. Recognize that you hold the capability to facilitate change, both in your relationships and in how you interact with the world. With every healing conversation, you not only enhance your own emotional safety, but also empower those around you to engage with authenticity and vulnerability. The journey to enriching your communication skills starts now, and the impact you create could be transformative. And feelings at her own pace, promising her that there would be no pressure to respond immediately. This simple act of assurance marked a significant turning point in their relationship. During their first healing conversation, Sarah expressed her fears and anxieties candidly, explaining how she often felt overwhelmed and unable to articulate her emotions in tense moments. Rather than shutting down or resorting to defensiveness, Tom listened intently, validating her experiences by saying, "I understand that you feel this way, and it's okay to take your time to process." This approach not only made Sarah feel safe opening up, but also fostered a connection grounded in trust, which acted as a balm for her anxiety. The effectiveness of such healing dialogues is supported by research in psychology that highlights the importance of emotional safety for mental well-being. According to a study published in the Journal of Emotional Support, participants that engaged in communication, focused on empathic understanding, reported lower anxiety levels and increased feelings of connection with their partners. When individuals feel safe and supported, they are more likely to confront their challenges, paving the way for further emotional growth and recovery. Similarly, healing conversations can significantly aid those facing mental health issues, such as depression or trauma. For instance, let's examine Jennifer, who has been struggling with depression following a personal loss. When her close friend Rachel noticed Jennifer withdrawing, she decided to initiate a healing conversation. Rachel approached the topic gently, explaining how she noticed Jennifer's change and expressing her concern. By using open-ended questions such as, "Would you like to share what you've been feeling?" Rachel created a space where Jennifer felt encouraged to voice her struggles without fear of judgment. Jennifer responded to Rachel's empathetic prompting by sharing her grief. The act of having someone listen attentively was transformative. It allowed her to feel less isolated in her pain. After this conversation, Jennifer reported feeling lighter and more empowered, recognizing that she didn't have to face her feelings alone. Rachel's commitment to engaging in a healing conversation offered Jennifer the opportunity to take a step toward recovery while reinforcing their friendship. The urgency to incorporate healing conversations into our interactions cannot be overstated. In today's fast-paced world, many individuals are left feeling unheard and misunderstood. Creating a culture of emotional safety through healing dialogues not only benefits the person dealing with mental health challenges, but also enriches the lives of those providing support. It fosters deeper connections and creates a network of understanding that can be pivotal for emotional resilience. As you reflect on your own relationships and experiences, consider how you can implement healing conversations to cultivate emotional safety. Recognize that in doing so, you are not only aiding others in their healing journeys, but also enriching your own emotional landscape. In the following sections, we will explore practical strategies to enhance these conversations, ensuring that you have the tools necessary to facilitate meaningful discussions that foster growth and connection. Embrace the power of healing conversations and prepare to become a catalyst for emotional safety and understanding in your relationships. Your willingness to engage deeply and compassionately can significantly impact both your life and the lives of those around you. To cultivate healing conversations and establish emotional safety, it is crucial to follow a structured, step-by-step approach that nurtures understanding and connection. By implementing these techniques, you can create spaces that foster authentic dialogue and empower those around you to express themselves freely. Begin by preparing yourself mentally before an important conversation. Allocate time to reflect on the topic at hand and your emotional state. Ask yourself key questions. What are my intentions for this dialogue? How do I wish to approach the conversation? Setting a clear intention helps you stay focused and ensures that you create a safe environment for sharing. Next, practice active listening skills. When engaging in a conversation, give your full attention to the speaker. This means putting away distractions, making eye contact, and using nonverbal cues like nodding to show you are engaged. As you listen, avoid formulating your response while the other person is speaking. Instead, concentrate on understanding their perspective. After they share, reflect back what you heard by paraphrasing their feelings or concerns. For instance, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed and unsure of how to move forward." This not only shows empathy, but also encourages them to delve deeper into their emotions. To enhance your skills continually, consider practicing empathy exercises. One effective technique involves writing a letter to a friend or loved one describing a difficult situation they are facing. In this letter, express understanding for their feelings and validate their experiences. After writing, share the letter with them or discuss your insights during your next conversation. This exercise helps you practice empathy and prepares you for real-life healing conversations. Don't forget the importance of grounding yourself emotionally before and after these conversations. Engage in relaxation techniques such as deep breathing or mindfulness meditation. Before the conversation, take a few deep breaths to center yourself, reminding yourself that it's okay to hold space for your emotions and those of others. Afterward, take time to decompress and reflect on the conversation. Journaling about your feelings allows you to acknowledge your emotional responses and better prepare for future discussions. Celebrate small wins to build momentum. Each time you successfully hold a healing conversation where both parties feel heard, take a moment to acknowledge this success. Reflect on what worked well and what could be improved. Gradually, you will notice growth in your confidence and competence when engaging in these emotional dialogues. Acknowledging these victories reinforces positive behavior and encourages you to embrace more healing discussions. As you incorporate these techniques into your life, remember that maintaining a healthy balance is key. While being present for others is invaluable, it's essential to protect your emotional well-being. Establish clear boundaries that allow you to step back when needed. After a heavy conversation, make sure to engage in self-care practices that rejuvenate you, whether it's pursuing a hobby, taking a short walk, or spending time with supportive friends. As we conclude this chapter, it's clear that healing conversations are essential tools in navigating emotional landscapes. These techniques will empower you to facilitate open, honest, and compassionate dialogues that foster emotional safety and connection. In the next chapter, we'll explore the concept of emotional resilience, delving into strategies for building the strength needed to withstand life's challenges without losing your core self. This understanding will further enhance your ability to support yourself and others in meaningful ways. Before we move forward, I invite you to share your journey with this material. Subscribe to Mindset Liberation for more enlightening discussions, and don't hesitate to like this chapter if it resonated with you. Your insights are important. Comment below with your thoughts or questions, as your engagement shapes our community. Let's continue this journey together, supporting one another as we explore the depths of emotional clarity and connection. Chapter 7: The Path to Awareness and Recovery. Awareness is the bridge that connects painful experiences to healing, illuminating the way forward from trauma and emotional distress. Recognizing this path is vital for individuals seeking recovery, as it enables you to reclaim control over your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. The journey toward awareness allows the fog of confusion and pain to dissipate, revealing the transformative potential inherent in understanding one's emotional landscape. The origins of awareness in the context of mental health can be traced to the principles of mindfulness and self-reflection, which have long been utilized in therapeutic settings. Researchers in psychology have found that individuals who engage in mindfulness practices report a higher level of self-awareness and emotional regulation. A study published in the journal Psychology and Health found that mindfulness training led to significant reductions in symptoms of anxiety and depression among participants. This evidence highlights the profound impact awareness can have on emotional well-being and emphasizes its importance in the recovery process. Consider the journey of Alex, a young man who faced persistent feelings of sadness and isolation after experiencing a major life upheaval. For months, he stumbled through life in a haze, unaware of the emotions he was suppressing. It wasn't until a friend encouraged him to explore mindfulness techniques that he began to uncover the depth of his pain. Through meditation and journaling, Alex started to connect with his emotions, recognizing the fear and sorrow underlying his disconnection. This newfound awareness became a catalyst for healing, helping him understand that he was not defined by his struggles, but rather empowered by his capacity to confront them. Statistics underscore the significance of awareness and its role in recovery. Research from the National Alliance on Mental Illness indicates that nearly 1 in 5 adults experiences a mental health condition each year, with many of these individuals unaware of the resources or support available to them. By fostering awareness, individuals can not only better understand their own experiences, but also connect to broader conversations around mental health, fueling their journey to recovery. Expert insights reinforce the value of cultivating awareness as a conduit for healing. Dr. Dan Siegel, a leading expert on interpersonal neurobiology, emphasizes the importance of mindsight, the ability to perceive the mind and emotional experiences of oneself and others. His research suggests that developing this skill enhances emotional well-being and interpersonal relationships, allowing individuals to approach their struggles with clarity and understanding. By integrating these practices into daily life, one can foster the self-awareness necessary for sustainable recovery. The urgency to embrace awareness cannot be overstated. The clarity it brings is essential for dismantling the detrimental patterns that often accompany unresolved trauma. Engaging in the journey toward awareness empowers individuals to make conscious choices rather than fall victim to reactive emotions. This control is particularly important for those facing mental health challenges, as increased self-awareness can significantly reduce feelings of helplessness and isolation. As you embark on your own path to awareness, recognize that this journey is an act of courage and self-compassion. Embracing this mindset allows you to unpack your experiences thoughtfully, unraveling the layers of pain and building resilience in the process. The insights gained through this exploration can reshape your identity, paving the way for lasting emotional recovery and empowerment. In the coming sections, we will delve into practical strategies to cultivate awareness in your everyday life, equipping you with the tools needed to navigate your emotional landscape effectively. Prepare to embark on a transformative journey, as awareness serves as the foundation upon which you can build a life characterized by emotional clarity and growth. Your capacity for healing and connection is within reach. Embrace the path to awareness and discover the freedom it can bring to your life. Fostering awareness is a crucial strategy that benefits both the individual seeking recovery and those supporting them, particularly when mental health challenges are involved. When individuals become more aware of their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, they gain valuable insights that enable them to differentiate between their own feelings and those imposed by external circumstances. This heightened awareness empowers them to navigate their emotional landscape with greater clarity, ultimately leading to improved mental well-being. For instance, let's consider the story of Maria, a young woman struggling with anxiety that frequently manifested in social situations. Initially, her anxiety felt overwhelming, leaving her feeling isolated and helpless. Through participating in a mindfulness program that emphasized self-awareness, Maria began to recognize the physical sensations accompanying her anxiety. By taking the time to understand these sensations, she realized that many of her fears were rooted in unfounded assumptions about how others perceived her. With this newfound awareness, Maria began to differentiate between her true feelings and distorted beliefs. This shift enabled her to approach social situations with a more open mindset, allowing herself to participate without being paralyzed by anxiety. As she learned to acknowledge her emotions without judgment, Maria discovered that she could reframe her experiences positively. The program's focus on awareness not only reduced her anxiety, but also equipped her with skills to foster more meaningful connections with others. Statistics reveal how common this transformative journey is. Research from the Mindfulness Research Journal demonstrates that practicing mindfulness techniques can lead to a notable reduction in anxiety and depressive symptoms in participants, with approximately 70% reporting significant improvements in emotional regulation. This statistic highlights the effectiveness of enhancing awareness as a tool for personal recovery and growth. Furthermore, fostering awareness also significantly impacts those around individuals facing mental health challenges. Consider Jake, who had a friend named Carla dealing with depression. At first, Jake struggled to understand Carla's emotional experience, often feeling frustrated or helpless when she withdrew from social gatherings. However, he decided to actively engage in conversations about her feelings, approaching these discussions from a place of genuine curiosity and empathy. By cultivating greater awareness of both his own emotional state and Carla's, Jake learned to provide support that honored her experience. Instead of pushing Carla to socialize when she wasn't ready, Jake would check in on her and offer to spend quality time together in a calm and comfortable setting. This simple yet profound practice of awareness brought Carla significant relief. as it provided her with the space to open up about her struggles without pressure. Expert insights reinforce the value of awareness in enhancing emotional connections. Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, a pioneer in mindfulness-based stress reduction, emphasizes that awareness allows individuals to create a non-judgmental space for emotional experiences, leading to improved emotional regulation and resilience. By cultivating awareness, both individuals facing mental health challenges and their support systems can work toward creating a compassionate environment that nurtures healing and understanding. In summary, developing awareness is a potent tool that not only facilitates recovery for the individual, but also enhances relationships with those who provide support. By practicing mindfulness and actively engaging with one's emotions, individuals can transform their mental landscapes, allowing for healthier interactions and deeper connections. As we move forward, we will explore practical methods for implementing awareness in your daily life, equipping you with the tools needed to strengthen your emotional journey and foster meaningful relationships that thrive on understanding and compassion. Embrace this opportunity for growth, knowing that each step toward awareness contributes to a more fulfilling emotional life. To cultivate awareness and facilitate recovery, it's essential to follow a structured approach that empowers you to explore your emotions deeply while maintaining your well-being. Here's a step-by-step guide to implementing awareness practices in your daily life, along with practical exercises that will enhance your journey toward emotional clarity. Begin each day with a moment of self-reflection. Set aside a few minutes in the morning to sit quietly and focus on your breath. This practice is foundational for nurturing awareness. As you breathe in and out, tune into your body and observe how you feel emotionally and physically. Are there areas of tension? Emotions bubbling just beneath the surface? Take note of these feelings without judgment. This morning ritual helps you establish a conscious connection with your inner self, setting a tone of mindfulness for the day ahead. Next, practice an exercise called emotional check-ins throughout the day. Take moments to pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Pinpoint the specific emotions you're experiencing, whether it's joy, anxiety, frustration, or sadness. Consider keeping a small journal or a notes app on your phone. Whenever you notice a significant emotion, jot it down along with the triggers that sparked it. This exercise will help you build a clearer understanding of the patterns in your emotional responses. To deepen your practice, explore the use of guided meditation focused on awareness. There are numerous apps and online resources available that offer sessions aimed at cultivating emotional understanding. Find a meditation that resonates with you. Commit to practicing it a few times a week. As you incorporate these meditative sessions into your routine, you'll strengthen your ability to observe your thoughts and feelings from a distance, promoting a greater sense of balance and control. Celebrate small wins during your journey toward awareness. Each time you recognize and articulate an emotion, no matter how fleeting, acknowledge that achievement. Positive reinforcement is crucial for building momentum. Share your experiences with a friend or partner who also values personal growth. Discussing your insights can reinforce your intentions and open avenues for further exploration. The more you celebrate these moments, the more they will contribute to a broader sense of progress and well-being. Balancing your desire to help others while nurturing your own emotional health is vital. After engaging in conversations or activities that require deep emotional labor, ensure you carve out time for self-care. Engage in activities that invigorate you, whether it's exercise, reading, or spending time in nature. Establish personal boundaries around your time and energy, recognizing that it's perfectly acceptable to prioritize your needs. This self-compassion is not selfish, it's essential for sustaining your ability to support others. As you continue on this path, be aware that awareness is an evolving process. There will be days that feel lighter and others that may overwhelm you. Know that this variability is a normal part of the journey. Practice patience with yourself and remain committed to nurturing your growth. As you embrace this journey toward awareness, remember that you possess the power to transform your mindset and emotional landscape profoundly. If you find these strategies resonate with you and inspire a deeper exploration, I encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences. Subscribe to Mindset Liberation for continuous support, and don't forget to like this chapter if it resonated with you. Your feedback and insights are invaluable. Please comment with your reflections or any suggestions for topics you would like to see next. Let's walk this path of emotional growth together, supporting each other as we cultivate deeper awareness and healing. As we conclude this journey through Trauma Unburdened, How the Body Heals with Awareness, we have explored the profound impact of emotional awareness on mental health and recovery. Each chapter has illuminated key strategies to navigate the complexities of emotional experiences, from recognizing triggers and setting boundaries to holding space for others and engaging in healing conversations. Through practical exercises, real-life scenarios, and expert insights, you have been equipped with tools to foster your own emotional resilience and support those around you. Embracing awareness is a transformative process, empowering you to reclaim control over your mindset and emotions while nurturing compassionate connections with others. Thank you for dedicating your time to this exploration of personal growth and healing. Your engagement is essential to our community's journey. If you found this content valuable, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mindset Liberation. We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences, as your insights help shape future conversations. Together, let's continue to cultivate awareness and support one another on the path to healing and emotional clarity.